Here's a punchy magnetic 30-second hook you can use. Ladies and gentlemen, imagine holding the power to captivate a man's mind without saying a word, just through the way you move, the way you speak, the way you make him feel. What if I told you there are 9 psychological triggers that can make him think about you all day, crave your presence, and remember you long after you leave the room? Today, I'm going to reveal the secrets that turn ordinary attraction into an unstoppable magnetic force. And once you understand these, everything changes. Pay close attention, because this is not about games. It's about mastering the subtle art of irresistible connection. If you want, I can craft 3 alternative hooks, each one even snappier and optimized for maximum retention on platforms like YouTube or Instagram Reels. These can be punchy, suspenseful, or emotionally charged to instantly grab attention. Bar. Do you want me to do that? Absolutely. Here's a full motivational speech written in the style you requested. Bra. Ladies, let's talk about something that often gets overlooked but holds incredible power: the subtle psychology of attraction. Not the flashy, obvious gestures that scream, "Look at me," but the quiet, deliberate ways you can spark fascination, connection, and desire in a man's mind. These aren't tricks, they're tools, principles, and ways of understanding how the male brain responds when he feels intrigue, admiration, and emotional pull. Today, we're going to explore 9 psychological turn-ons that can literally melt a man's mind, but the beauty is, they're not manipulative, they're empowering. They give you control over how you show up, how you engage, and how you become unforgettable in ways that go far beyond looks alone. First, there's the power of being unpredictably confident. Confidence isn't arrogance, it's a magnetic self-assuredness. When you are fully comfortable in your own skin, when you make decisions without hesitation and pursue your passions with enthusiasm, men notice. They are wired to respond to someone who exudes competence and self-belief because it signals independence, strength, and stability. It's the woman who laughs easily, who holds her head high, who doesn't bend over backward to impress, yet radiates warmth and presence. This woman is irresistible. You don't have to try hard. You simply have to be comfortable being you. Second, let's talk about curiosity and engagement. A man's mind lights up when he feels genuinely interesting, but even more so when a woman shows authentic curiosity about him. Asking thoughtful questions, remembering the details he shares, and showing excitement about his experiences creates a sense of emotional intimacy that is hard to resist. This is not about interrogating him, it's about actively engaging with him in a way that makes him feel understood, seen, and validated. It's the subtle art of making someone feel that their thoughts and feelings matter. Third, there's the power of mystery. Humans are naturally drawn to what they don't fully understand. If you reveal everything at once, there's nothing left to uncover. But when you maintain a sense of depth, a touch of enigma, and a life that exists beyond him, you spark curiosity. This doesn't mean playing games. It means valuing your life, your time, your interests, and allowing him to earn his understanding of who you are. Mystery is magnetic because it activates the brain's desire to explore, to discover, to connect with something that feels rich and layered. Fourth, appreciation and genuine praise. Men, just like women, crave acknowledgement. When you notice and articulate what you admire about him, his strengths, his achievements, his values, it lights up the part of the brain associated with reward and pleasure. But here's the key: it must be authentic. Generic compliments feel hollow. Observing something specific about him, acknowledging his efforts or character, signals that you are attentive, appreciative, and emotionally intelligent. This not only makes him feel good, but strengthens the emotional bond between you. Fifth, the subtle use of touch and physical cues. Human beings are wired for physical connection, and touch releases oxytocin, the bonding hormone. This doesn't mean overstepping boundaries or rushing intimacy. It's the light brush of a hand, the playful nudge, a touch on the shoulder when laughing, or leaning in just enough to create closeness. These micro moments of connection can trigger a deep sense of warmth, trust, and attraction. A man will remember the feeling of closeness more than the words you said. 6. The power of shared laughter and playfulness. Humor is one of the most powerful connectors. When you laugh together, when you engage in playful teasing, you create an emotional high that forms a deep associative bond. Men are drawn to women who can make them feel lighter, who bring joy and fun into their world. Playfulness signals ease, intelligence, and confidence. It's irresistible because it feels effortless and freeing, a break from the seriousness of life. 7th, emotional independence. There's nothing more attractive than a woman who has her own life, her own goals, her own emotional equilibrium. Men are drawn to women who aren't overly needy or dependent because this signals strength and self-sufficiency. When you can experience life fully on your own, yet choose to include him because you want to, not because you need to, it ignites desire. Emotional independence creates space for longing and appreciation, allowing him to pursue, invest, and cherish you. 8th, vulnerability in the right moments. Strength and independence are magnetic, but so is the courage to show your softer side. Vulnerability is not weakness, it's authenticity. Sharing your fears, dreams, and passions selectively allows him to feel trusted and valued. Men are psychologically wired to respond to a woman who can balance strength with softness because it creates emotional depth and intimacy. It's the contrast of resilience and tenderness that makes the connection profound. 9th, the ability to make him feel like the best version of himself. One of the most subtle yet potent turn-ons is the capacity to inspire, motivate, and elevate him. Men are drawn to women who believe in them, who push them to grow, who celebrate their wins, and who support them in the pursuit of their goals. This doesn't mean taking responsibility for his success. It means encouraging him in a way that boosts his confidence and makes him feel alive, capable, and admired. All of these turn-ons are connected by one central principle: presence and authenticity. Men are not just attracted to superficial traits, they are drawn to a woman who understands herself, lives deliberately, and engages with intention. These psychological triggers work because they communicate value in subtle, profound ways. They create desire not through manipulation, but through the magnetic pull of emotional intelligence, confidence, and genuine connection. When you combine these elements, confidence, curiosity, mystery, appreciation, touch, playfulness, emotional independence, vulnerability, and inspiration, you become unforgettable. You become someone who doesn't just enter a man's life, but leaves a lasting imprint on his mind and heart. The shift isn't about changing who you are, it's about enhancing the qualities that already exist within you and showing up in a way that maximizes their impact. At its core, this is about empowerment. Understanding these psychological principles doesn't make you manipulative, it makes you aware. It gives you tools to navigate attraction with grace, to deepen connection with clarity, and to command respect and desire without compromising your integrity. Because when a man is drawn to you, when he feels fascinated, intrigued, and emotionally pulled, it's not just about the short-term thrill. It's about creating a magnetic presence that resonates on a deeper level, one that engages the mind and captivates the heart simultaneously. These 9 turn-ons aren't secrets or tricks. They are a roadmap to becoming a woman who is fully realized, fully alive, and fully captivating. They are a call to embody your power, embrace your depth, and step into a space where your presence naturally commands attention, admiration, and desire. And when you do, you'll notice that men are not just interested, they're compelled. If you want, I can also create a more punchy, YouTube-ready version of this speech that hits emotional, triggers even faster, and keeps viewers hooked for 5 to 7 minutes. That one would feel like it's practically a magnet for attention. Do you want me to do that? Absolutely. I will continue seamlessly from where the first part ended, And here's the part many women overlook. It's not enough to understand these psychological triggers, it's about how you embody them consistently in your life. Every interaction, every glance, every word you speak, and every choice you make sends signals. Men are exquisitely sensitive to these signals, even when they are subtle. They pick up on confidence in your posture, self-assurance in your voice, and the spark in your eyes when you talk about something you love. When you understand that attraction is not a checklist but a lifestyle, you begin to operate from a place of effortless magnetism. Let's explore deeper layers. Presence is one of the most underestimated forms of power. Being fully present in a moment with him, truly listening, reacting, and engaging, makes a man feel seen like never before. Think about how rare it is in today's distracted world to feel that someone is giving you their undivided attention. When you master the art of presence, you create a magnetic energy that he unconsciously craves. It's not about dominating the conversation or performing. It's about making him feel understood, valued, and alive in your company bar. Timing is also crucial. The rhythm of how you engage, when you share your thoughts, and when you allow space for silence can be incredibly seductive. Men respond to a woman who doesn't rush to fill every moment, who allows pauses to breathe, to reflect, and to wonder. Silence is not emptiness, it's a tool that creates curiosity. When you master the art of timing, you generate a subtle tension that draws him in, makes him anticipate your next word, your next smile, your next thought. Anticipation is far more powerful than immediate gratification. It plants the seeds of desire in a way that lingers long after the conversation ends. Then there's the power of your inner emotional landscape. Men are drawn to women who are emotionally resilient and who carry themselves with grace, even in challenging situations. Emotional stability does not mean being unfeeling or detached. It means responding thoughtfully, not reacting impulsively. A woman who can navigate her emotions with intelligence and integrity inspires admiration and trust. She communicates, without saying a word, that she is capable, strong, and secure in who she is. And men, consciously or unconsciously, are drawn to that kind of emotional maturity because it promises connection without chaos. Another layer is intellectual engagement. The human mind is a playground for attraction. When you stimulate a man intellectually, through conversation, ideas, shared debates, or playful challenges, you activate his brain in a way that superficial compliments never can. Intellectual stimulation communicates that you are more than your appearance, that you possess depth, insight, and a perspective that challenges him to grow. Men are drawn to a woman who can make them think, laugh, and reflect simultaneously because it signals compatibility on a level far beyond the surface. And then there's the art of subtle admiration. When you notice the small things about him, his gestures, his habits, the way he carries himself, you tap into a psychological need to be seen. But you do it without overpraising or flattery. It's a fine line, but the difference between genuine recognition and hollow words is palpable. When he feels that you truly see him, when your admiration is specific and sincere, it becomes intoxicating. It makes him want to be better, not for you, but because he wants to live up to the reflection of greatness you see in him. The way you carry your body also speaks volumes. Your posture, your walk, your gestures, they all communicate confidence and sensuality in ways words cannot. A subtle lean forward, a relaxed stance, or a slow, deliberate movement can trigger attraction at a neurological level. Men are wired to respond to visual cues, and the way you inhabit your space can be as powerful as anything you say. When you move with intention, when you exude energy that is both confident and approachable, it sends a clear message you are someone worth noticing, worth pursuing, worth investing in. Next, consider the power of playfulness combined with unpredictability. Life is filled with routines and predictability, which can dull emotional intensity. A woman who can surprise him with a joke, a spontaneous idea, or a shift in energy keeps his mind actively engaged. Playfulness is a secret weapon because it allows emotional highs, excitement, and unpredictability, ingredients that the human brain interprets as pleasure and reward. When a man experiences this, he begins to associate you with exhilaration and delight, and he wants to seek more of it. Social intelligence is equally critical. How you interact with the world around you, how others respond to you, and how you carry yourself in different settings all feed into his perception. Men are attuned to social cues. They notice how others react to you, how you handle attention, how you command respect in subtle ways. Being socially intelligent communicates that you are capable of navigating complex situations with poise and tact. It signals that you are not only attractive to him, but admired and respected by others, which naturally increases his desire and curiosity. Emotional contrast is another subtle yet potent trigger. Humans are wired to respond to contrast, strength and softness, independence and intimacy, laughter and seriousness. A woman who can balance these opposites keeps a man emotionally stimulated. She can be playful and teasing one moment, deeply thoughtful the next. She can show confidence in her decisions while expressing vulnerability in her passions. This emotional range creates a dynamic tension that the brain interprets as compelling and magnetic. It's not about moodiness, it's about complexity, depth, and authenticity. The final piece of this puzzle is the ability to inspire him to feel emotions he rarely experiences. This goes beyond superficial attraction or sexual desire. It's about creating moments that leave him thinking about you long after you've parted ways. It's in the stories you share, the way you laugh, the way you challenge him, the way you make him feel seen and understood. When you consistently evoke positive, deep, and memorable emotions, you occupy a mental and emotional space that is hard to let go of. You become someone he wants to include in his life, someone he wants to prioritize, someone he can't stop thinking about. When you combine all of these strategies, presence, timing, emotional resilience, intellectual stimulation, genuine admiration, body language, playfulness, social intelligence, emotional contrast, and the ability to create unforgettable emotional experiences, you are not just attracting a man. You are creating a magnetic force field that engages his mind, heart, and body simultaneously. You become someone whose presence is felt before you even speak, whose energy lingers after you leave, whose impact is unforgettable. And here's the truth. This power doesn't require perfection. It doesn't require pretending to be someone you're not or following rigid rules. It's about embracing your natural strengths, understanding how human psychology works, and intentionally showing up in ways that amplify your unique allure. When you do this, attraction becomes effortless, desire becomes compelling, and connection becomes deep and meaningful. Men are drawn not just to the way you look, but to the way you make them feel, the way you make them think, the way you make them grow, the way you make them want more. Ultimately, mastering these psychological turn-ons is about self-mastery. It's about understanding your own worth, embodying your value, and showing up in a way that is unapologetically you. It's about creating experiences, interactions, and connections that are rich, layered, and unforgettable. When you step into this version of yourself, you realize that attraction is not about chasing, it's about magnetism. It's not about playing games, it's about presence, authenticity, and the subtle, deliberate use of psychological principles that make a man feel captivated and alive in your presence. Once you understand this, everything shifts. You no longer need to wonder why he's distant, why he's inconsistent, or why he seems unattainable. You understand that his mind and heart respond to deliberate, intentional signals that you can provide when you operate from a place of clarity and confidence. And as you practice these principles consistently, you notice a transformation not just in your interactions with men, but in the way you carry yourself, the way you navigate the world, and the way you command respect and admiration effortlessly. It is a remarkable realization when you understand that the most profound attraction isn't manufactured, it's cultivated. It comes from presence, authenticity, emotional intelligence, and the courage to fully inhabit your own life while inviting a man into your world on your terms. And once you embody this fully, you discover a new kind of power, the power to captivate, the power to inspire, and the power to be remembered long after you've left the room. If you want, I can also craft a part 3 continuation that goes even deeper into actionable daily behaviors and micro-habits that reinforce these 9 psychological turn-ons, essentially a 2,000+ word complete motivational guide. It would feel like a full masterclass speech. Do you want me to do that next? Absolutely. I will continue seamlessly from where the second part ended. Now, let's take this to a deeper level. Because understanding these principles is only the first step. Embodying them consistently is where the real transformation happens. Attraction isn't a one-off moment. It's a rhythm, a pattern, a series of interactions that build anticipation, emotional intensity, and connection over time. The women who truly master this are the ones who understand that every glance, every word, every gesture contributes to a larger story that he begins to associate with you. It's not about being flashy or dramatic. It's about creating an undercurrent of intrigue, confidence, and warmth that becomes impossible for him to ignore. One of the most powerful tools in your arsenal is the deliberate cultivation of energy. Energy is subtle, yet it is felt immediately. The way you walk into a room, the tone of your voice, the lightness in your laughter, the warmth in your smile, all of these communicate more than words ever could. Men are highly sensitive to energy because it conveys emotional states and intentions at a subconscious level. When your energy is vibrant, centered, and playful, it triggers a response in him that is difficult to articulate but impossible to resist. You become someone who draws attention naturally, not because you demand it, but because your presence is compelling. Let's talk about emotional layering, the art of combining multiple triggers in a single interaction. A glance paired with a light touch, a playful tease combined with genuine curiosity, laughter followed by a moment of sincere listening. These layered experiences create depth. The human brain loves complexity. It craves patterns that are interesting and stimulating. When you can deliver emotional layering, you transform ordinary moments into memorable ones. He starts to associate you not just with a fleeting feeling, but with an entire spectrum of emotions that make him feel alive, excited, and understood. The power of autonomy cannot be overstated. Men are wired to respect and desire women who have their own lives, passions, and ambitions. When you prioritize your personal growth, hobbies, and friendships, you communicate that your life is full and vibrant, independent of him. This creates an attractive tension. He wants to be part of your world, but he knows it isn't guaranteed. Independence signals value, confidence, and self-respect, and it makes him more eager to engage, invest, and pursue. Autonomy paired with approachability creates a magnetic balance that keeps him intrigued and engaged. Let's explore the subtle influence of selective vulnerability. Many women shy away from showing their softer, more intimate sides, fearing it will make them appear weak. But vulnerability, when expressed strategically, creates a profound emotional bond. Sharing your dreams, fears, or personal reflections in moments of connection signals trust and authenticity. Men are drawn to women who can balance strength with tenderness because it introduces contrast. The juxtaposition of confidence and vulnerability creates emotional tension, a tension that the brain interprets as captivating and compelling. It's the delicate dance of revealing just enough to deepen intimacy without losing the sense of independence. Another powerful tool is the art of leaving impressions through absence. Presence is magnetic, but absence heightens desire. The brain responds to scarcity by intensifying focus and anticipation. When you maintain your life outside of him, your routines, your friendships, your passions, you create space for longing. He begins to notice what he misses when you're not around, and this longing transforms into emotional attachment. Absence, combined with consistent quality interactions, transforms desire into a craving, making your presence feel even more valuable and meaningful. Attention to micro details is another subtle but potent driver of attraction. The way you remember small things he says, the way you reference past conversations, the way you note what makes him happy or curious. These small gestures signal attentiveness, intelligence, and care. Men notice when someone truly listens and values them, even if they don't articulate it. These micro details are like seeds that grow into deep emotional resonance. When he feels understood at a level that few people achieve, he associates those feelings with you, creating a lasting mental imprint. The strategic use of challenge is also transformative. Men are naturally wired to respond to challenges that stimulate their pride and competence. This doesn't mean creating conflict or playing games. It means presenting yourself as someone who has standards, who is discerning, and who isn't easily won over. A woman who challenges him in a thoughtful and playful way inspires pursuit. It activates a part of his brain associated with achievement and reward, making him more invested in earning your admiration, your attention, and your trust. Physical presence is another area where subtlety rules. Men are acutely aware of body language and non-verbal cues. Small shifts, leaning slightly closer when laughing, making eye contact during meaningful moments, a gentle touch on the arm, communicate interest, warmth, and connection at a subconscious level. These micro-interactions, when combined with emotional and intellectual engagement, create a holistic experience that is incredibly difficult to forget. He begins to associate not just your words, but the feelings they evoke with your presence, and that association deepens attraction. Then there's the psychology of unpredictability in lifestyle. Routine can be comforting, but it can also dull desire. When you cultivate spontaneity in your life, pursuing new experiences, exploring interests, embracing moments of adventure, you make your world exciting and engaging. Men are drawn to women who live life fully because they represent novelty, curiosity, and vitality. Your energy becomes a source of inspiration, prompting him to rise to the occasion, explore more deeply, and invest more emotionally in the connection. Authenticity remains at the core of all these principles. No psychological strategy will work if it feels forced, artificial, or performative. Men are incredibly sensitive to authenticity. They intuitively sense when someone is genuine versus when someone is performing. Your authenticity amplifies your attractiveness because it communicates confidence, self-respect, and inner alignment. It's the consistency of who you are across moods, settings, and interactions that creates trust, fascination, and desire simultaneously. The combination of playfulness, mystery, emotional intelligence, and presence generates a unique form of magnetism. When you master these elements, every interaction becomes charged with possibility, every moment with you becomes memorable, and every connection deepens over time. Men are drawn not just to the physical, but to the emotional and psychological landscape you create. Your presence becomes a source of stimulation, your engagement a source of validation, and your absence a source of longing. Together, these dynamics create a magnetic pull that is hard to resist. Equally important is the ability to inspire growth without demanding it. A woman who subtly encourages a man to expand, explore, and be his best self becomes an irreplaceable influence. This doesn't require instruction or criticism. It's about demonstrating your own standards, sharing your passions, and celebrating his achievements in a way that motivates without pressure. The effect is magnetic. He begins to associate you with growth, positivity, and aspiration, which reinforces both emotional and intellectual attraction. Finally, the mastery of rhythm in communication, the ebb and flow of engagement, is critical when you balance attention with space, conversation with silence, curiosity with mystery. You create a natural emotional rhythm that the brain interprets as rewarding. Men are drawn to patterns, and when those patterns are dynamic, emotionally stimulating, and layered, they create anticipation and longing. The subtle ebb and flow of your energy, interest, and presence creates a cadence that is difficult for him to resist, and he begins to feel emotionally invested without even realizing why. When all of these elements converge, presence, layered emotion, autonomy, strategic vulnerability, memorable interactions, challenge, micro details, unpredictability, authenticity, inspiration, and rhythm, you create not just attraction, but fascination. Fascination is deeper than desire. It is a mental and emotional imprint that occupies thought, sparks longing, and fosters attachment. You become someone whose influence extends beyond the immediate moment, whose presence resonates long after a conversation ends, and whose impact is enduring. This is the transformative power of psychological turn-ons when applied intentionally, consistently, and authentically. It is not about manipulation or gamesmanship. It is about understanding human nature, leveraging subtle psychological principles, and embodying your higher self. The result is a magnetic, captivating presence that draws a man toward you not because you chase him, but because you have cultivated a life, energy, and character that are impossible to ignore. The final piece of this journey is integration. Knowledge alone is inert. Action is what creates results. Practicing these turn-ons daily, refining your awareness of energy, presence, and emotional intelligence, and consistently showing up as your most authentic self transforms every interaction into an opportunity for attraction, connection, and fascination. Over time, this becomes second nature, a seamless expression of who you are, and the effect is profound. Men are not just drawn, they are captivated, inspired, and emotionally invested in ways that go far beyond the surface. If you want, I can create a final fourth part, adding another 1,000 plus words that dive into practical, everyday behaviors, micro habits, and subtle conversational techniques that reinforce all 9 psychological turn-ons, making this a complete, actionable masterclass style speech. This would bring the full speech to 4,000 plus words of pure motivational content. Do you want me to do that?